This is the Fiery Redhead, formerly known as Wide Open Spaces with Elise, and I'm your podcast host, Elise Litwin. It is time to ignite your fire. So, this podcast almost didn't happen. I have been AWOL for a long time. I decided that I needed to rebrand this podcast into the Fiery Redhead. And I'm going to tell you why this episode. If you've been listening to Wide Open Spaces with Elise, I thank you wholeheartedly. But things needed to change because I changed. And I want to give you the backstory because from here on in, each episode will have a guest. And that guest will tell us how the fire was ignited inside of them. You see, all of you that are here listening to me today, you're my fire starters. You're going to start fires within other people once you've started that fire within yourself. Or maybe you already have. Now, the reason why I said this podcast almost didn't happen, if you've been listening to me in the past year, I have gone through a tremendous amount of pain and suffering with the loss of my mom. And I decided to relaunch my podcast today, on the day that my mom passed away. And I want to give you a little bit of the story behind that so you can understand what the fire being ignited in someone really means through what I've experienced and how I want to make this fire burn in all of us. So a year ago, my mom passed away. And I went through all the things that everybody goes through when their parent passes away. The first stages of grief, all the stages of grief. Oh, the first of everything will always get better. And I know you miss your mom, but she's watching over you and she's with you and she would want you to do this, and that. I get it. I'm a therapist. But fuck that. You can say all that shit, but it fucking doesn't matter because the pain is there. And I literally cried every fucking day since my mom passed away until the day before Mother's Day. Something happened to me on that day. I don't know if it was because my mom's birthday was on May 1st, so I had to go through that first. And then there was Mother's Day in the month of May. And then she passed away on May 28th. So fuck the month of May in general for me. But the day before Mother's Day, I've recently moved. I've literally changed my entire life within a year's span of time. And I went through a lot of, it's stupid to say soul searching, but I felt like an orphan. Both my parents are gone. I didn't realize how much my mom shaped who I was even as an adult. And so that pacifier, that person who was always there, that no matter what shit was going on in my life, if nobody was listening to me, mom would listen to me. And so all that I had to deal with not having. And they say when you lose all your parents, you become an orphan. And I truly freaking feel that way, that I've become an orphan. Yes, I'm a mom to 2 girls and a dog and a grandpup and a wife to my husband. But I have a huge emptiness. And over the past year, that emptiness has filled with a fire of learning that life is not what I expected it to be, a fire of anger. Why? Where are you, Mom? Why are you not here? This fire builds up, which at first was anger, but then it became something different. And I want to share with you the moment, the specific moment where everything changed for me. And I knew it was time to move on. I was sitting outside, which I do every single day, earbuds in, sometimes sad music, sometimes I want to dance music, whatever. And a memory came back to me. A memory where I must have been, I think, in middle school or something like that. And so at this age, I think we watched the movie Love Story. I was with a friend. It was Ryan O'Neal and Ally McGraw, and she dies from cancer. And I really didn't know what cancer was, other than it's something that people die from. And I'm like, can you breathe it in? We asked our parents, and they explained to us what cancer was. Well, after my friend left that day, I remember going up to the sliding glass door that we had in our house, the pool, right off the patio, and just having my hands on the glass and looking out the glass and going, I'm not going to have my parents with me my entire life. One day they're going to be gone. And that sad little girl came to this realization of, gosh, we don't live forever. And that's always sad when any kid realizes that. But I remember this moment. And as I was sitting outside now in the present, this memory came to me. And that memory of that little girl met me as a grown adult. That fear that I had as a child had now come to fruition. And they had to come together. And it was almost like that little girl was holding hands with the grown-up me and saying, okay, it's happened. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit around and fucking cry every day? Are you going to feel sorry for yourself? Because that's not what your mom would want for you. And tomorrow's Mother's Day, and she sure as hell wouldn't want me sitting around crying on Mother's Day. And something in that memory, that combining of my childhood memory with my adult self, changed me. It ignited the fire within me. And I am a fire starter. And I am going to do everything in my power to live my life with the fire inside me, to make changes, to fight the things that I feel make me angry. And so I feel that there's so many of us out there who've gone through shit. Whatever the shit is, it's shit. And some of us have come out of it with a fire burning deep down in our bellies. It's almost like when you have anxiety and you feel that anxiety in your chest and you don't know how to get it out. That's kind of how this fire is within inside me that's been ignited. But it's getting so hot in there that it's just freaking coming out. And out and how, in what way? Well, time will tell. But the first way is I am inviting all of you to become fire starters with me. Elise. Elise, who's gone through all this shit like we've all gone through shit. And we can wallow in it, and we can let ourselves never be the same again. I will say to you, I am not the same person. The day my mom took her last breath, that Elise Litwin, gone. The minute she stopped breathing, gone. And now, a year later, here she is, the new version of her, the fiery redhead. And so wide open spaces with Elise no longer fit me. I kept trying to go back to it, and I just couldn't. And that's why I've been AWOL, because I didn't want to come back till I was ready. And as sad as today is, because it's the day my mom passed, what kind of symbolism is there in that to start my new relaunch of the Fiery Redhead? Because you know what? That's what my mom would want. She would want me, now that this year has been complete, to do something with my life, to make a difference through everything that I've learned. And so, what's going to happen here when you come to listen to the Fiery Redhead? Well, hopefully, my story ignites something in you. Or maybe you've been through the same different situation, but something so life altering, and you feel that burn like anxiety that just has to get out. The flame is in there because you've gone through so much and you know you're different. And what can you do with that flame now that it's been ignited? How can you start figuratively, not real, fires? How can you change other people's lives, and how can you change your own life? And so guests will be on this podcast with different stories, different life experiences, mostly women, actually all women. So I hope I don't lose any of my male listeners out there because, well, honestly, you could learn a lot of crap and good and exciting things from us women, because we can even empower the men in the world. And so the women are going to come here and they're going to tell stories on how their fire has completely changed them. That they, whatever it was that happened to them, no longer that person. They're so different. Their entire DNA makeup feels completely different. They're going to tell us their story, what happened to them, and what the fuck they're doing now. How they've empowered themselves, how they've changed the world, how they've changed their lives, maybe in their family or in their workplace or whatever it is. Because I hope that their stories of empowerment, of that fire that burns within, if you're somebody who's just struggling really hard, this podcast is no longer going to be that therapeutic podcast where I would give you therapeutic techniques. But what I will give you is a good kick in the ass. And what I will give you is to show you how other people have been through the shit too, down, deep down the dirt, lying down the ground, and have gotten themselves up and they've done something with it. You know, we only go around this world one time. And it's hard to realize that we don't have all the time in the world. And well, this last year has really made me realize that. Not that I didn't know it, but that full circle realization of that little girl, sad, knowing her mom and dad wouldn't be with her forever, coming together with the big girl and holding her hand and saying, let's go. Let's kick up some dirt. Let's ignite some fires. Let's create a little bit of a buzz about starting fires, figuratively, not literally. So what is it that's bringing you to this point that you're listening to this podcast? Maybe you're stuck. Maybe you just aren't getting there yet. You're not ready to move on to the point of taking action. But you know that the fire is burning. The match has been struck. And there's embers that are slowly, slowly coming up. And they want to come out. And how are you going to bring them out? And what are you going to do with them? It's not about making people proud of you. It's not about showing your children what a good role model you are. Yes, these things can trickle down. This is about you, bitch. This is about you and the shit you've been through that's pulled you all the way down to the ground. And now you're ready to come up in flames and fire and do something with your life different. Change a direction, pivot, move on from where you are. Do I have you thinking? Where's that thought process going with you? I've been posting on social media that the launch is coming of my podcast and what changed her? What made the Fiery Redhead change? What made her a different person? And I've been posting this over and over and over again. And some people might have realized who know me, oh, her mom died. really it's not about that. It's about tragedy that shakes us to our core, that stops us in our tracks to the point where we feel like, how do I move on? There's so many things that encompass when a person is taken out of your life forever, that we are not the same person anymore. And so that's where the difficulty to move forward comes. Because this event, whatever it is, whatever your trauma was, or whether it's PTSD, whether it's divorce, whether it's the loss of somebody or the loss of something, or illness in yourself or someone else, or all the myriad of things that can happen to us in our lives. When they happen, we change. We're not the same person. Like I said, the minute my mom took her last breath, that Elise Litwin no longer existed. And that's what happens to us when these major life changes happen. And so if you don't realize that and you don't acknowledge it, you become stuck. You stay in the same flow. Things don't really change in your life. You don't see a lot of positive things happening to you or major life things happen to you. You're kind of staying in your little bubble, maybe because it feels safe, but safe never gets us anywhere. And how sad would it be to stay in that bubble where you've changed because of this event, but you're keeping it under control inside this bubble. So this fire, these embers are burning, wanting to come out. You need to pop the frickin' bubble. You need to come out. You need to acknowledge that whatever that event was when it happens, you are no longer the same person. You have changed. And what does she want from life? What does she want from her relationships? What does she want from her professional life? Where she lives, what she does? Maybe you'll pick up and move like I did, because I felt like I would just be stuck in that environment, in the place that I've known my whole life. And it was scary to pick up my whole family, my home, my everything. But I knew that I would never be able to evolve staying in the same place because of all the memories and all the things that were beautiful. But I wasn't the same anymore. And being in that environment just felt uncomfortable, like an itchy sweater that I just needed to pull off, take it off, and put something cozy and new and soft to make me feel that I could come out of that bubble. And so my move was a big part of it. Putting this podcast on hold, Wide Open Spaces with Elise, was a big part of it. But guess what, bitch? She's back. And this is not going to be PG rated. It's going to be raw. It's going to be honest with the language, with the everything that goes on. And some of the topics may be a little uncomfortable, but guess what? We need to go there. I want to go there because I want to fucking blow it up. And I want to fucking hear all these stories of these women who have kicked some ass. And I know you want to go out there and kick some ass. So let's go out and ignite some fires together. Sometimes life burns you. Sometimes it just drags you down and shows you who you really are. And when it shows you who you really are, when you've really been dragged down, it makes you want to ignite that flame. So thank you for joining me for this opening of the Fiery Redhead. You no longer will have just solo me. This was just to tell you what's been going on with this bitch, the Fiery Redhead. Can you read it all? And here she is. She's ready to kick your ass and she's ready to hear all the people that are going to come into my space, whether it's in my podcast studio or virtually, because I want to hear your stories on how you're a badass. So thank you for joining me for today, the first episode of the Fiery Redhead will continue from where the Wide Open Spaces left off. The last episode of Wide Open Spaces was 198. This will show up as 199, but the new improved The Fiery Redhead with a guest will be episode number 200. So, hey, my fire starters, let's get out there and let's ignite the flames. Please don't forget to go to all the social media. Look for me on TikTok, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. You can go to Podbean. You can go to my website. Wherever you want to go and listen to your favorite podcasts, please like, love, and follow, and share. I want to get this on fire. Like these flames, the Fiery Redhead wants to go and have one person after the other, and let's just blow this up together. Until next time, fire starters.